This right here, folks, this is the story of how I almost got kicked out of my house, almost got killed by my parents, almost got spanked so hard I didn't have an ass anymore, and all that other, you know, punishing stuff because I did something stupid. Don't fucking do it. And that stupid thing was buying a motorcycle. So, okay, yeah, let's start at the beginning of the story here. I was young, okay? I was impressionable. Lots of shit happened. I watched the Fast and Furious movies. I became absolutely obsessed with cars, all right? And that car obsession later turned into an obsession for, you know, fast things. Somewhere along the way, bikes piqued my interest. Loved motorcycles. Then I started to really love motorcycles. And then I was in Italy on vacation one time. I was walking down the street in Rome, and I saw some really cool dude on some sports bike. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he nodded. And then he popped the sickest ass wheelie in the world and took off on a sit-down wheelie all the way down the road until I couldn't see him anymore, until he was down the hill. All right, damn sexy and sweet, and he just won over my heart, that Italian man back in the day. So, you know, I've wanted a bike for a really long time, and you know, I live in the city, although I'm riding in the country, and my parents have never been supportive of me getting a bike because, as you guys probably know, or your parents would have the same opinion, bikes are dangerous. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get in an accident. Blah, 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 blah. There are so many reasons not to have a motorcycle, and they are so legitimate. I'm not saying that to make fun of anyone whose parents say that, because I totally agree. Motorcycles are very dangerous. But, you know, no one will understand the amazingness to ride a motorcycle until you've actually gotten on your sexy baby and ridden a motorcycle. It's an unexplainable, amazing feeling to ride. And people will go to great lengths to have that option to ride, including, you know, risking their lives every day while they subject themselves to the shitty drivers of the road here that we have to deal with. So, okay, this is my story. Let's start after I saw the, you know, handsome Italian man pull off on that sit-down power wheelie on whatever kind of bike he had. He had one of the Mohawks on his helmet, like Do It With Dan. Just very nice, very nice. Okay, so I wanted a bike, and then so where I'm from, you gotta be 16 years old to get your M1 license. So the way the license class works, annotated here, you got your M1 license, okay? Then you can have your M2 license, and then you can have your M. So with your M1, you can only ride during the sunlight hours, and you can't have a passenger, you can't go on the highway. Your M2, you can pretty much do almost everything. I don't think you're allowed to have any alcohol in your system. And, you know, it's your M2. And then you can go after another year, and then you can go get your full M license. So, where I'm from, oh, voice crack. So, where I'm from, you have to be 16 years old in order to get your beginner's or your learner's license for your motorcycle. Not just a written test. So when I turned 16, you know, don't forget, at the time, I'm still, you know, head and shoulders more than bikes. I'm interested in cars. And I would say, you know, now they're probably about equal. But, so at the time, I was firstly extremely eager to go get my car license. So I go get my beginner's license to drive my car. And once I get that, I'm all happy and stuff, and soon enough I start to say, hey, I would really like a motorcycle, and I would really, really like a motorcycle. What do I need to do to get one? And then I was like, oh, I'm 16, I can go get my learner's license for my motorcycle right now. So, is this guy going? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I turned 16, I picked up that the car license. Shortly after that, I went and got my M1, which is my first stage of my motorcycle license. My mom took me to go get my M1 because she knew I really wanted a motorcycle. But my dad was like deathly against it. He was, you know, if you get a motorcycle, you will move out of this car, I will punish you until you die kind of thing, and all this. all this bad stuff. So a little bit of time went by, and you know, I'd like to be very open with my parents. I'm not the kind of person to hold anything back. I tell my parents literally everything, and you know, I would even say to a fault at sometimes, because I get myself in trouble sometimes. So as we were sitting down for dinner one night, casually let it slip out to my dad, hey, guess what? Guess what I did the other day? Yeah, I got my M1, my motorcycle learner's license. And you know, his mouth dropped and his fork fell out of his hand. And he stares at me. And the look I got that day, I will never forget, although I've gotten it a few more times since then. And yeah, he was furious. Right then and there, he told me that he's not okay with me getting a motorcycle. Put it out of my mind right this instant, because I will never have a bike, blah blah blah. Okay, so you know, crushed my heart a little bit. That was insane. Even though he told me that, I did a ton of research to look for someone to insure me. I tried to look at what bike to get, all this stuff, as if my dad had never said anything to me. And it turned out it wasn't really feasible for me to get a bike when I was 16. It wasn't practical because for a lot of different reasons. First of all, I couldn't find anyone to insure me. I called probably 50, 60 different insurance brokers / companies looking for someone to insure me. And trust me, when you have zero experience on a car and zero experience on a motorcycle, nobody wants to insure you riding a motorcycle on the same roads as cars. It's very difficult. I only found 1 or 2 companies willing to insure me at the time, and I was looking at the CBR 125s, and the insurance price for a 125cc bike was $4,400. That is absolutely insane. And this was back in the day when the Canadian dollar was on par with the American dollar. So you American folks, I know you have it good because insurance is cheap for you guys. Imagine $4,400 a year for a 125. That is insane. The bike costs like $2,000. So I wasn't able to get a bike at the time for these reasons. I never gave up hope. I kind of put it out of my mind a little bit, but every once in a while I would still call a bunch of companies, get requoted. I was always checking out what bikes were for sale locally, all this stuff. I've been doing this since I was 16 damn years old. And when I was 20, when I first turned 20, birthday's in January, so I you know, kind of stopped thinking about it a little bit. It wasn't my first priority. I'm a university student and I'm busy. A white special edition, green special edition, which is this sexy baby right here, and a couple other ones in terms of the Ninja 300s. And I had dictated at the time, this is ultimately the bike that I want.